You're listening to TV Tangents. And on today's episode, I am going to explain to Natalie the origin of the Coogan Act. Hi, Natalie.
Hi, Rebecca.
Good to see you again.
Yes.
We talk a lot about TV and movies. Hollywood, in the grand scheme of things, is a pretty young concept. I mean, it, once upon a time in the early 1900s, was the Wild West, and studios moved from New York to California for two reasons. Number one, because the weather was consistent. And number two, because there wasn't a whole lot of government reach in California and not a lot of laws.
Yeah.
So it really was like the Wild West.
That makes sense.
In the early movies, child labor laws didn't exist. Now, you and I watched The Addams Family a couple years ago. And you remember Uncle Fester
Yes.
was a character on The Addams Family, the 1960s sitcom.
Yes.
Did you know that he was the first ever massive child star?
Did we talk about that then? Or
We
maybe
might have touched on
I
it.
was going to say, I feel like I have a semblance of knowledge of that.
Okay.
But I can't remember why.
So Jackie Coogan in 1921 landed the part in a Charlie Chaplin film called The Kid.
Okay.
And he was born to some vaudeville actors. They were a vaudeville family. And so they had him on the stage like from birth. And then he got into the movie with Charlie Chaplin. It wasn't his first on-screen role, but he was like, I think he was like 6. Well, let's see, 1914 to 1921. He was 7 years old.
7. Okay.
So he became a huge star. People went crazy for him because he was so cute. And he was, the
Uncle Fester?
Uncle
That
Fester.
was cute once.
So cute. I'm
No,
going to
I'm
show
kidding.
you, his little face.
Oh, he was cute.
Cute little guy. So he's in this movie with Charlie Chaplin, and he becomes a big star. And there's like merchandise. You can buy like toys and games and food. There's like peanut butter with his face on it. And he's a huge star, and people want to meet him and everything. And he goes on to be in other movies, like throughout his childhood. So his parents put him in the movie. He loved it. He wasn't one of those tragic child actors who was like, overworked or abused or anything like that. He enjoyed it. And his dad managed his career. So in his childhood career, he earned what would today be estimated at somewhere between $70 and $90 million as a child actor. It's huge, especially considering this was like during the Depression and all of that. So in 1935, when he was 20 years old, he had had a string of tragedies that year. He was the sole survivor of a car crash in San Diego that killed his best friend and his dad and a few other people. So he's 20 years old at this time. So his family also had this financial advisor who took care of their money, but like the dad was mostly in charge of managing Jackie's career. So about a year after his father passed, Jackie was 21 years old, and he went to his mom and he said, oh, by the way, his mom now was remarried to the financial advisor.
Oh. Yikes.
Yeah. He went to his mom and he said, okay, I'm 21. I want my money that I made as a child actor. You know what happened.
There's no money.
His mom was like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? He's like, I made like $70 million. I want my money so I can go start my life. And she and her husband, the financial advisor, by the way, have been married a very short time and spent a lot of money. Jackie's money.
Of course.
And she was like, yeah, that's the family's money. You were just playing. You enjoyed it. you had a good childhood, you were spoiled, you got everything you wanted, and so yeah, you don't get any money. So he took her to court and he sued her for his money.
Yeah.
And the judge is like, I mean, community property law says that whatever money a family makes, like anyone in the family makes, belongs to the family. So you just have to walk away. You're an adult now. Got to make your own way. And Jackie argued it was not necessary to spend that much money to raise me. I didn't need to be spoiled. I didn't need all of this. Yeah. You should have saved some money. And his mom's like, well, that's just not how it works. Even though very obviously the mom and the stepdad are like living the high life because supposedly, according to Jackie, the dad didn't, he didn't find any fault with his father in this, basically. Yeah. I don't know how accurate that is. Yeah. But so in the end, the judge ruled, okay, whatever's left of Jackie's money, you split it down the middle. Mom gets half and Jackie gets half. $250,000 is what was left, which in today's money is $2 million. By the end of the day, Jackie used all the money, his half, his $1 million, to pay his lawyers.
I was just going to say that would have just all gone to the lawyers.
Right? So he's flat broke. And his mom, I mean, she's okay because her husband is a financial advisor and whatever. Mm-hmm. But basically, Jackie now is, by the end of this, he was 22, 23 years old. He had no money. And so he went to his old friend, Charlie Chaplin, and he said, I just need a little bit of money to get me back on my feet so that I can start, my adult life. Mm-hmm. And Charlie's like, yeah, here's a check for $1,000. Which is $20,000, basically. Yeah. And so he went on to do some TV and whatever. He was married to Betty Grable from 1937 to 1941.
Interesting.
He was married I think he was married 3 times. And he passed away in 1984 at age 69. But the whole thing with his mom and his stepdad, the case was sensational. It was in all the papers, and some papers are Jackie's evil mom took all his money, and other papers are Jackie's mom heartbroken over her, idiot son and whatever. Yeah. And she's called him a bad boy and said that he was ungrateful and all this stuff. This resulted in the California Child Actors Bill of 1939, which is also known as the Coogan Act. But it only applies in certain states, not all states. So, I think it's California, New York, New Mexico, and some other states. And it's kind of honored, in other states so people don't get sued kind of thing. But it basically is a child labor law that says how long children can work.
Oh, yeah.
And, we know about the laws on sitcoms and how parents have to be present and kids can only work this many hours depending on their age and whatever. It also sets up a trust account called a Coogan account where the manager is required to deposit a minimum of 15% of the child's earnings into the account so that they have something when they reach the age of majority. Yeah. And no one is supposed to be able to take money out of this account. Well, this has come up recently. You know who Honey Boo Boo is.
I do.
Alana Thompson, Honey Boo Boo. Recently, she's 19, and she has no money. Because her mom
spent all the money.
Spent all her money on drugs, supposedly, allegedly. But she's not suing her mom. And her mom, was oh, there's no money left because she apparently you can get, some emergency injunction to get money out of the account if you absolutely need it for the child, which she somehow did. And so I guess she gave Alana $10,000 and was well, here's some, but Alana doesn't want to sue her.
Yeah.
And after hearing how Jackie Coogan didn't get any money in the end, even though he did get money because he had to pay lawyers, you can't really blame her for that.
Right.
Because lawsuits aren't fun
and
they're expensive.
I was going to say, taking somebody to court's not the best idea.
Actually. Right. And her mom doesn't have any money anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just wanted to put out there, like, this had to be done. Like, these laws didn't exist. We know about child labor laws in California, but they had to come from somewhere. They had to come from, the pain of a child, which is really awful.
That is horrible. And just to think about all the stories we've heard of people who put their kids into being actors for their own purpose and to make money. And we've known, I think, we talked about a few years ago, we talked about that Kid 90 documentary or whatever. And one of the biggest ones with that, I mean, some of those kids were like, oh no, I was into it. I really wanted to do it. But is it Jonathan Brandis who I'm thinking of? And he ended up committing suicide when he was like 27. And I remember them talking about it. And he was always like, I never wanted to act. My parents forced me to do it.
Yeah.
And he'd always go hang out at Soleil's house and whatever. And it was like his family life was not good. And then, of course, he turned to drugs and he ended up taking his own life. And it's like, that to me is so sad. And just thinking about what all these greedy people do and that there aren't more laws, especially for actors and actresses, you would think, that aren't more protecting of that and being like, oh yeah, I guess that would go for anything. Like if your kid's a model or, could do anything, I guess, that makes money.
People are lobbying to get the Coogan Act to apply to children who are online making money because there's a lot of that stuff going around where family blogs, they're making money on their children. And there have been some scandals lately with the mommy blogs and like the children, appearing happy on video kind of thing. And like children make money on TikTok and on YouTube. And there's really no regulations for them. And you just have to trust that the parents are going to take care of them. Well, I'm sorry, but some people have nefarious ideas.
That's true.
About making money. So they're trying to get the Coogan Act to apply to those spaces also because they really only apply to agented entertainers.
Yeah.
And YouTube and TikTok stars are not agented generally.
True that. Yeah,
as children.
Yeah.
Like their parents might be.
You just have to hope that,
And Jackie Coogan, you see him as Uncle Fester. And you don't see him as anything other than Uncle Fester
That's
because
true.
we're not old enough to remember Charlie Chaplin from 1921.
Exactly. And weird that it's like that happened so long ago. And it just seems like, there's been way more stuff in recent years. You hear stories about, that I hadn't heard that about. I'd never really watched anything with Honey Boo Boo, but like knew who it was, obviously. But, you hear about just like the weird stuff with like Britney Spears or just little things like where people have to, what is that called that she was under? Like,
the conservatorship.
Conservatorship.
Yeah.
I always think about like the Jackson 5 when they were young. You hear about, weird stories with the dad and stuff. And I'm just kind of like.
Because there's so much predatory stuff going on in Hollywood and in music because a lot of people in those industries are not in it for the enjoyment of entertainment.
No.
They're in it for the exploitation.
Yeah. And other nefarious reasons.
It's kind of awful.
Yeah.
But I think that people are most comfortable these days bringing things into the light because things, you've got like the internet and you've got people sharing stories and backing each other up. So things are more public than they used to be because now things are coming out that are pretty awful that wouldn't have come out before.
Yeah. Interesting.
So that's the story of Jackie Coogan because every time I hear someone mention the Coogan Act, I go, I know all about it.
Let me give you all the details.
I know everything.
Interesting. Interesting.
That's the story of Uncle Fester.
Uncle Fester. His poor little sad childhood.
I mean,
he had a great childhood, but then it turned.
It seems like he did
duped.
enjoy it, and he had a good experience, and he was always very close with Charlie Chaplin, and he was never forced into it.
Yeah,
he enjoyed it.
So it was more just. That was more of a family tragedy, I guess. Like that would just suck if you just then you didn't get your money that you made and you actually had a really good time. You're like, oh, this was like the best. And now I have all this money and now I can go do whatever I want. And then you're like, oh, my mom is...
But my mom is living high on the hog because, And that's a
That'd be
little
disappointing.
scandal in there where she
Yeah.
marries the financial advisor less than a year later.
Yeah.
Ma'am?
So really? Was that just
What's going on?
What caused that car accident, by the way?
It's
I don't
crazy.
trust anybody.
You should not trust anybody. And yeah, back in the 20s, Hollywood was crazy. Crazier than it is now. So, all right, well, that's it.
That's it. Wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up. It's just a short episode. How long was that? Oh, I stopped. I stopped my timer. I don't know what
Whoopsies.
happened.
Oopsies poopsies.
That's fine. We're out of practice. All right.
Yeah.
Wrap it up.